Hey everybody, Jimmy Smith with my post-fight breakdown. Israel Adesanya, Yoel Romero. My picks are on my YouTube with on my podcast with Ryan Moody. So anyway, I had a lot of stuff to do this week, so I wasn't able to do a breakdown just by myself. I did Invicta on Friday. I did Titan the previous Friday. Just a lot of stuff going on, and more to talk about in a minute about that career-wise in the next couple of days. But anyway, just had a lot going on, so I wasn't able to do a solo breakdown and picks. But my picks are there if you want to look at them. Great card up until the main event, which was an incredible disappointment to just about everyone. I did the post-fight show on SiriusXM till 3 in the morning, which is why I'm a little tired now. Anyway, so let's start at the bottom of the card. Alex Oliveira, Max Griffin. I thought Alex Oliveira would have enough veteran savvy to get past Max Griffin, who's an excellent fighter. It was a very close fight, but I thought Alex would have just enough veteran savvy in the right positions to win the fight, and that's what happened. Oliveira hands low, ate some really easy punches in the beginning. That's something when I was coaching, I always try to tell guys, try not to be an easy target for simple punches, meaning if a jab and straight right hits you almost every time, you're doing something wrong. Make your opponent do something creative or throw a lot of punches to hit you. You shouldn't be a sitting duck for easy punches. And in the beginning, I thought Max Griffin was landing easy punches. Jab and straight right were landing. Alex Oliveira tends to let his hands float down by his nipples. And what that does, that invites fighters to come in, and then he kind of brawls. That's been his style. Didn't work in the opening round, started working in later rounds. Also got good positioning late in the fight. Good takedown in the second round, but got the mount in round two. And then Max Griffin finished strong, but Alex Oliveira controlled enough of the third round to get a decision. But a good veteran performance. I don't know how much longer he can go to war the way he does and eat a lot of punches in a tough division with very hard hitters. So Alex Oliveira can still have very entertaining fights with mid-level guys, opening pay-per-view cards, higher up on fight nights. There's still a place for Alex Oliveira, and he's still a very entertaining fighter. That's what he showed to me. Neil Magny versus Li Jingliang. I was wrong on this one. And I'm actually happy I was wrong. I thought Neil Magny, with the layoff, with the beating he took from Santiago Ponzinibbio, wouldn't have a lot left for this fight. I just think it was the wrong time to come back, considering what he had been through. And I was wrong. Neil Magny looked great. It was a vintage performance. As I said in the pre-fight, I normally would pick Neil Magny in a fight like this. I think he's the better fighter. I think he has better physical talent. He has more gifts, great range, very tall. When he puts it all together, he's very tough to beat. I just thought right now, timing-wise, it wouldn't be good. Long layoff, big, severe beating the last time he was in the octagon. But he looked very sharp, and he basically beat Lee every way you could beat him. Outranged him, outstruck him, was better on the ground, got dominant position, and it was a wipeout from beginning to end. Lee just never had a way in. Lee's not a very versatile fighter. He can't do a ton of stuff. And in the beginning, he was backing Neil Magny up briefly, and then Neil Magny flipped the script, and it was all over. So Neil Magny was just a better fighter with more physical gifts. I think he's superior. And the beatings didn't really affect him that much. He didn't have a lot of ring rust. He came in with a lot of confidence. Excellent performance. He's still a factor in the division. It's very, very tough to get to the top at 170. It's just crowded with talent. It always has been. But Neil Magny's an excellent fighter who, with a couple of good performances, might break into that top 5 contender status. Needs to beat a bigger name in order to do that. We'll see who's available and how they match up stylistically. That's a big question too. But Neil Magny at 6'3" with an incredible reach is going to be a puzzle for anybody. If you can solve it, you can beat him. But it's not easy. So Beneil Dariush, Drakkar Klose, I picked Beneil Dariush to win. I didn't think he'd win by soul removal. He destroyed Klose with that overhand shot in a time when Klose was doing well. Back and forth fight, both guys had their opportunities, but it was in the middle of a brawl that hurt both guys, where Beneil Dariush just put everything behind a punch and absolutely drilled him a minute into the second round. So I like what I saw from Beneil Dariush. I mean, a veteran guy, but allowed himself to kind of get drawn into a brawl. He's lucky it worked out his way. He threw the punch that landed, but he was getting hurt before that. So whenever you're in a situation like that, a great way to put it, I read a book about poker one time by Daniel Negreanu, who's a poker pro, and he said, when you go all in, anybody, That's the time a pro is just flipping a coin like everybody else. That's the one time being a pro doesn't help you, is when you have to go all in or your opponent goes all in. Because you're betting they have what they have, and that's it. There's no strategy to the betting. There's no going on the table. They're doing this, and that. When somebody goes all in, it's okay, I'm all in. You want in or not? That's the coin flip. Anytime you trade power punches with anyone at any level, you're flipping a coin. You're saying, I may be a veteran, I may do things better than you, I may be more versatile, but we're going to throw leather and somebody's going down. Now, it came up Beneil Dariush's way, but it's the one time a veteran gives up their advantage. Is in a brawl, because anybody can get hit and go down. So Beneil Dariush took that risk, got involved in a brawl, and ended up winning. But it's the one time your veteran savvy doesn't really help you. He took that risk, and to his credit, he got the knockout in the second round. Beautiful stuff. Had to be KO of the night. Yeah, it was. I see right here. Performance of the night, Beneil Dariush. He deserved it. Phenomenal stuff. Great knockout for him. Still dangerous, and has yet to have that kind of letdown against mid-level talent. You got to be a solid up-and-comer or a veteran name. Then you can beat Beneil Dariush. But in terms of that second level, that 10 to 15, 10 to 20 range in the division, Beneil Dariush, very, very dangerous. Always fun to watch. Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk. One of the best fights I've ever seen. Greatest fight in women's MMA. And I called a barn burner at Invicta. So the night before, Yulia Stoliarenko against Lisa Verzosa, if you didn't get a chance to check out Invicta, one of the bloodiest women's fights I've ever seen in my life. Probably the bloodiest women's fight I've ever seen in my life. Verzosa got cut here, and it looked like someone tried to gouge her eye out with a knife. That's what it looked like. And the doctor went in and looked at it and was like, okay, didn't even put his hands on it, nothing. Stepped into the cage, looked at it and went, okay, we're good. And I went, oh my God, I couldn't believe he wasn't at least taking a close look at it. But so one of the bloodiest fights I've ever seen in women's MMA. And then we get this one the next night, which was incredible. An incredible fight. Both ladies put it all on the line. Back and forth kickboxing battle. Rarely do the numbers tell the story in MMA. This isn't a sport of stats. This isn't a sport of numbers, I don't think. I know they've tried to do that more and more with the broadcast and ESPN and Fox and all those things, because fight fans are used to it. And when you're appealing to a different demographic who didn't necessarily come up in the sport, they like those kind of things. I know the punch stats and where everything landed. That doesn't always tell the story of the fight. It doesn't. In this case, it did. The story to me was Joanna Jędrzejczyk was a bit sharper technically. She was a little bit faster. She worked the whole body. She had those three things. Weili Zhang hit her in the head more and hit her with more power. And statistically, when they showed the numbers at the end, that was the case. Joanna Jędrzejczyk landed more leg kicks, more body shots, fewer head shots. But Weili Zhang landed to the head with power strikes a bit more. And to me, however you judge this, and there'll be people in the comments section giving various scorecards, I don't think any of them are wrong. I really don't. It was Joanna by a round or two, or it was Weili Zhang by a round or two. And do you value the bop, 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 3 or 4 to the 1 or 2 that Weili Zhang would hit her with and turn her head around? That's the judgment call. What's more effective? I thought Weili Zhang was more effective by 1 round with power punches. So I thought it was the right decision. I thought it was extremely close. I have no problem with people thinking Joanna won that fight. No problem at all. But I thought Weili Zhang stepped in with power shots and did more damage. And at the end of the fight, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she was beat up. She was beat up. You saw her face. I mean, Weili Zhang wasn't in great shape either. But the story of the fight was the power shots to the head. Weili Zhang landed more. I thought when she landed, she really hurt Joanna. I thought when Joanna landed, she would hit her 3 or 4 times in various places. Body, low kick, head kick. Great versatility. But when Weili Zhang stepped in and hit with power, she really hurt Joanna, and I think that was the difference. If you think Weili Zhang won, which I did, it was because of those power punches. If you think Joanna Jędrzejczyk won, it was because of her versatility and her accuracy. But she looked sharp. Joanna looked really sharp. Now, moving forward, who fights who? The problem is, it's a really deep division with great talent. But a lot of people want to see this fight run back, which I totally agree with. I think that would be great, but do you want to see her fight Rose Namajunas? Do you want to see her fight Tatiana Suarez? Or do you want to see her run back this amazing fight? It just added another layer to Weili Zhang's next title defense. Will it be Joanna, or will it be one of the great, another great fighter at 115? That's the hard part. An issue, though, with running this fight back, and only Joanna and her team know, I don't know what this fight took out of Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Her head was out here. Everybody's seen the memes and the pictures and everything. She was beat up pretty good. It's going to take a while to recover from this one. It just will. It's just the nature of the beating. It's going to be a while. So she's got to recover, and then is she as sharp coming back? Could have taken a lot out of Weili Zhang as well. She took some serious punches. And if you're a student of the fight game, it only takes one fight like this, and the next time you're just not the same fighter. So that's the question for Joanna Jędrzejczyk, how she bounces back from this one after the doctor visit and after getting her nose reset and after the time off and the swelling goes down. Is she willing to go through this kind of war again? Because every single one of these takes something out of you. So that's my question. But really, the greatest fight in women's MMA history, we saw it last night, in my opinion. I thought it was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Israel Adesanya, Yoel Romero, this fight was not incredible at all. Just about everybody I talked to, everybody who called in to SiriusXM was disappointed by this fight. We really thought Israel Adesanya, Yoel Romero, we're going to see a lot of versatility and some crazy striking and some great wrestling. And Yoel Romero basically refused to initiate on Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is a great counterpuncher. And a lot of times what you do against a great counterpuncher, you make them initiate. You make them go first. And Israel Adesanya clearly wasn't comfortable going first, clearly wasn't able to find a real way in on Yoel Romero, who's incredibly hard to hurt, and wasn't taking any risks that allowed Israel Adesanya in. I thought the only significant shots of the fight were landed by Yoel Romero. I thought he won the fight. What's funny is, what I'm reading a lot is, and I picked Israel Adesanya to win, so this isn't like I picked Yoel Romero and I'm, sour grapes. I picked Israel Adesanya, and I thought he lost. On the main card, I only got one wrong, which was Neil Magny. And so it's not like I'm trying to justify my pick. I really thought Yoel Romero won the fight, even though I picked Israel Adesanya to win. Israel just couldn't get anything done offensively. He had good leg kicks, but occasionally Yoel Romero landed that overhand shot. When he did explode, he was able to push Israel Adesanya back. It's hard to judge a fight like this when almost nothing happens. It's just what did happen, and the meaningful strikes that were landed, I thought were landed by Yoel Romero. So when they announced a unanimous decision, and the way it worked when I was on SiriusXM, the fight hadn't started yet. So as soon as the fight started, that's kind of when we started SiriusXM. So it was almost like a simulcast. We talked about the fight as it was happening. When I was on with Sean O'Connell, and he agreed with me. As soon as they read unanimous decision, we thought it was Yoel Romero. It's got to be Yoel Romero. And they gave it to Israel Adesanya, which I could not believe. So it's funny. Some people responded with, yeah, I thought Israel Adesanya won, or I thought Yoel Romero won, but who cares? It was a terrible fight. People just weren't enthusiastic about this fight. What does that mean moving forward? Israel Adesanya needs a little bit of rehabilitation in the next fight. It's really true. It's not fair, but it's true. You're only as good as your last fight a lot of times in this business. And this takes some of the shine off Israel Adesanya. Not that he can't be a star, not that he's not a great fighter and all these things. This is part of the learning curve. And remember, Anderson Silva had two of these. The Thialis Leites fight and the Damian Maia fight were both these bizarre, boring affairs where this great striker just didn't seem to do much. This is one for Israel Adesanya. And one of the things about his rise, it being so quick, is we're getting to know him on the job. We're learning about him as champion. And if you don't initiate on him and you make him initiate, he's considerably less comfortable. And that's something we learn tactically. No matter who you think won the fight, if you don't hit first, Israel Adesanya isn't necessarily great at finding a way in. Now, Yoel Romero, the physical abilities he has and the explosive nature of his style made Israel Adesanya more cautious. Will another fighter that doesn't have that, make Israel Adesanya cautious? It's a good question, but we certainly showed a vulnerability in Israel Adesanya. He likes countering more than he likes initiating. He's going to have to go back and work on that. But I thought Yoel Romero won the fight, personally. That was the way I saw it. But pretty good night of picks for me, even though Israel Adesanya I didn't think won. But anyway, let me know what you think, and I'll see you before and after the next big one.